people, and they go out of their way to be assholes. The lady on the front of this video is Marie Long. Now, why is that picture up? Because somebody made another fake Marie Long account. They make fake Marie Long accounts and then fake Rhonda Knudsen Rust accounts. There's a few other friends whose accounts have been cloned. Not really cloned, they just do it cheaply. One or two really low resolution pictures. Like, no. I know Marie Long. I know her in real life. I know her in person. My niece's grandma. One of them, anyway. Now, why would she be making accounts and sending them to me like this? She's not the first, not the last. It's weird, isn't it? Like, I gotta go through when I get a friend request. I have to worry about it being some fucking web sleuth wingnut nut job or one of my fucking predators in Chapel, Nebraska. Yeah, a lot of my predators do live in Chapel, Nebraska. There's at least one person, if not more, that go through my channel and do watch my videos. And that way they can find out who it is I'm talking about and go let those people know I'm talking about them. Like Kenneth Zarecki. When I first told the story of Kenneth Zarecki, I didn't give his name. But people in Chapel knew well enough to go warn Kenneth Zarecki, tell him that I was talking about him, which means that they knew well enough about the story to know that he'd been fucking a 14-year-old girl. Yeah. A lot older. He's a lot older than her. But Chapel, Nebraska will protect pedophiles, like Kenneth Zarecki, like Robert Franklin Warnick, like Mark Richmond. Chapel, Nebraska will protect child molesters like Andrew Witcher, Michael Albert, or Douglas Cowden. Now we're only focusing on the males here, huh? That's what you guys push. The males, the males. Women are far less likely to be sentenced to prison. Now our bias and statistics show that men have no rights. You have to have money and looks to have rights. Oh, take a look at Hollywood. Do they want the ugly ones? Only for a secondary role. Oh God, I am fucking cold. And a lot of the stuff that I post up about the bias against men, it's not just the bias. It's also examples of the bias from others, many of them leading researchers, pretty important. Now, we got two sets of records that we can take a look at. We can take a look at the records that are collected by various colleges and social studies around the United States, or we can focus just on the bias, which is arrest records. Now, we also get to see the protocols and how they hurt, especially male victims. There's the term mentally ill. When you victimize a man until he wants his life to end, something needs to be done about the predators. The predators are the ones who should be in trouble for doing that. But then again, who's going to listen to a man? You get to see how Caitlin Tatum treated me. And Danny Francis. They didn't give a shit. Years and years and years. They just straight up didn't give a shit. Now, this bias against men, y'all are fine with it. You push that all men are this or all men are that. Or you say, oh, Men should be allowed to have emotions, but then when we show emotion or express emotion, you harm us. You tell us that you're going to help us, and then you don't, and you don't, and you don't, and you don't. And then when I'm pissed off, like, let's take a look at Katie Cahill for an example. After over 8 months of her fucking bullshitting me, no way to fucking contact her, no phone number, no nothing. She's gonna start calling me from restricted numbers just like my fucking predators. And she did. She only called me from restricted numbers. How is she gonna coordinate with me? How is she going to speak for me if she doesn't know what's going on? The stuff that she knew was going on, she never came forward with either, which is the reason that she didn't get what she wanted right when she wanted it. You guys accuse me of that, don't you? If I don't get what I want right when I want it, I haven't gotten what I want. A friend or family member to help me to turn in these fucking crimes. Without that, I will be victimized by your bias, by the police, by the public, especially by men and women who are taught that women can't do no wrong. They're made of sugar and spice and everything nice. No, they're fucking not. They're made of flesh and blood, same as we are. A lot of people wanted to talk about their Jesus or talk about killing people. When I made a post, actually I make a lot of them, don't I, about how killing is wrong and about how I'm against it, people go trying to pretend like that means I'm gonna. People will literally reinterpret the words that come out of my mouth to fit whatever they want, including a fucking judge who is recorded and on this channel. That judge knew he was committing felonies when he committed it. Because he did it more than once. And the evidence shows that it was a coordination between the judge, Leslie Snell, and of course, Sheriff Scott DaCosta, who is her boss. It was a coordinated effort to intimidate my sister. You get to see how it was a coordinated effort to call me mentally ill so that their sins would be absolved. Oh, if nobody listens to Sean, it doesn't matter that we committed felonies against him. That's your mentality. That was Joan Hanson's mentality. That was Scott DaCosta's mentality. People absolutely refuse to believe that I could be the one who is stalked. That I could be the one who is victimized. That I was the one who had his life threatened and his friends' lives threatened and his family's lives threatened. Before Natalie's killed, I didn't threaten anyone's life. Nobody's. I didn't threaten anyone's life. But I absolutely retaliated against Tim Beeson and Ted Bollinger. I'll be goddamned if I'm going to be treated like a fucking child molester or a rapist or a fucking murderer. You people are fucking sick. A lot of people had crushes on Natalie because she was young and pretty. And I'm sure there's a lot of pedophiles that still go after Alicia Bollinger because she's fucking tiny. She's like 4'8". But she also knows that she can use that. She can abuse that to manipulate others. She tries to make her look like one of them candy girls from the 90s. Same thing with Katie Whiteman. But Katie Whiteman is a behemoth black woman. She is a very, very fat person. A very self-indulgent person. And somebody, well, you guys all know these fat women. You all know them. The ones who decided that since they didn't have a husband that would let them control him, and he left, got sick of her shit and she's done. She's going to develop herself an eating problem. She's going to eat way too much. She's going to become a fucking massive behemoth of a woman. And all she's going to do is start drama and stick her nose in everybody else's business and tell them how they need to think and how they need to feel. Meanwhile, she's harboring a lot of hatred towards men because they don't want to touch her fat ass. But we're not allowed to say it no matter how true it is because it's insensitive. Jesus fucking Christ, that's stupid. Men are 4 times more likely to die a violent death. Men are more likely to be killed by their wives than the other way around. But these women's groups will only point out the violent deaths because they don't consider poison to be a violent death. You ever seen somebody convulsing on the floor, puking up their innards? It's not pretty. It is violent. I got a question for you. Between shitting out your innards and getting smacked in the head with a ball-peen hammer, both of them are extremely likely to kill you. One of them is relatively painless. Women are more likely to kill their husbands than the other way around. Women are, in some places, up to 30 times more likely to get violent with a man than the other way around. Most of the men that I know who have domestic violence on their record because they pushed off a physical assailant who is female. You're not allowed to do that if it's a female. If she beats on you for 30 minutes and you push her off of you, you are the one going to jail because you have the penis. Dallas Richmond said repeatedly that the reason that he never turned in Harley Richmond for being physically violent with him is because he's a man and he'll get arrested. But does he speak up about that dynamic, or does he just say it to the peanut gallery? Does he just say it to me? See, even men hold that bias towards other men. We're taught to, we're told to. That's what we're supposed to do as men. We're supposed to be the protectors. Women are 11 times more likely to be stalkers. They are more likely to get their friends and family and others involved in stalking an individual, and they are also very likely, after doing so, to play victim. You and your friends work together to destroy a man's life because you didn't get what you wanted right when you wanted it. My paperwork says I'm supposed to go to friends or family. Friends or family. Because it is assumed that a friend or family actually care about you, unlike any of my friends who wanted to ignore me because I wasn't happy all the fucking time like I used to be. What reason did I have to be happy? The only way I could talk to those people is over the fucking internet, because if I tried to see them in person, I had to deal with being assaulted, having my life threatened, having people accuse me of doing shit I didn't fucking do. All of you who want to use Natalie's death and make it all about Natalie, that's pretty much all of you. When I try telling you about the abuse that I am still going through, you want to go, well, they found Natalie's killer. Jesus fucking Christ. Way to fucking deflect, you dumb cunt. And you don't like that word cunt, do you? Well, that's pretty universal for me. It don't matter if you're a male or a female. If your actions result in innocent people being harmed, you're a fucking cunt. I didn't stalk anybody. I didn't rape anybody. I didn't molest anybody. But here I am, stuck in a fucking parking lot in a very hostile neighborhood. "96% of those killed by police every year are homeless. 81% of those incarcerated were homeless when they were arrested. Judges do not observe our rights. Public defenders do not observe our rights. Police do not observe our rights, and they know they don't have to, because just like they hold that bias, so do you. You show it every single day. When you make a man beg for help, when a woman you would volunteer, you pieces of shit. The police kill one woman for every 19 men that they kill. 60% of those men are homeless. When you say we got to do better, that's not doing anything to make things better. That's just spouting a slogan. Pretty words, pretty memes. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and all of that bullshit. Women are more likely to kill their children by a lot. The majority of the time that men are killed, or that men kill people, it's not mental illness that is the culprit. It's having guns and alcohol at the same fucking time. The majority of these don't show a mental illness problem. They show mental illness as an excuse to harm. You make every person who is depressed, every person who is scared, every person in your life, in your family, who has any diagnosis from the DSM-5, when you use the term mentally ill, you're describing them not as somebody who has one of those things, or maybe more, in the DSM-5. You're very specifically painting them as a paranoid schizophrenic who is delusional. You're trying to paint them as a serial killer, or a rapist, or a child molester. These people who you call mentally ill. When you use mentally ill, you use that term as an insult. You use it to try to discredit your victims, and look how effective it is, especially against men. Who is the predator here? Myself or Natalie Bollinger? Natalie and her friends and her family were my predators. And what did my friends do? Caitlin Cahill, after all those months of not keeping her word, helping my predators to get away, wasting my time pretending that she's going to. Then she wanted to be angry as if I didn't get what I wanted right when I wanted it. But she wanted me to take it down now. How many women have we had like that? That didn't come forward and tell the truth. Some of them claimed that they would, claimed that they were going to help. Did they keep their word? No. Why am I angry with them? Because they didn't keep their word. They made empty fucking promises and took advantage of an at-risk adult. That's what they fucking did. All of you who I have sent evidence to, keep in mind, I don't have the ability to do that. I don't have the money to take care of myself. When I take the time to do that, hoping that you will take a fucking look finally. You don't, though. I posted that stuff for the last 6 years, the hell that I have had to live through, that you want to look away from because I have a dick, you sexist fucks. These fucking pigs here in Tillamook, same thing. Now when it comes to homeless people, we can't go to a fucking hospital or a cop. We will get fucking shot, or we will get arrested, or we will get shot up with fucking drugs and have our name slandered, be called mentally ill, and for the rest of our lives anyone can do anything they want to us. Now I want you to listen to Teresa Massilia. She got treated like a man by the police. She went in to turn in her crime, and she was victimized. But even she doesn't hold a candle in comparison with what I'm going through because she's not a man. A woman who doesn't get what she wants can throw a tantrum and you're evil because you didn't do what she wants right when she wants it. And she will throw a fucking tantrum at you and you are expected to fucking take it. Just like when the cops talk over you or try to make you or insinuate that you are some sort of a fucking monster. That somehow you must have asked for it, wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it. Because you got a dick. We can't go to the hospitals because they automatically treat us like we're fucking junkies. And I get it. A lot of y'all who are poor people who live in houses complain that you're treated the same at the hospital. You know, Sean, it's not just homeless people. I went in with my daughter and they treated us like shit. I went in when I broke my leg and I didn't have good insurance. They sent me to another hospital. They're not allowed to send you to another hospital. They're not allowed to send you to another hospital over insurance when you got a broken leg. They have to treat it because it is potentially life-threatening. That doesn't mean that they will. Amanda DeMette was talking about how when she broke her foot, the doctor refused to take an x-ray and she walked on that broken foot for 2 weeks before going to another doctor. Guess what? Her foot was broken. Now, a broken foot isn't necessarily a life-threatening injury, but it very quickly could become one. Complications from broken bones result in bone marrow loss, and that bone marrow goes somewhere. Oftentimes, it goes into your bloodstream. When it catches itself in your bloodstream, well, those are chunks of bone marrow. It's very fatty. It gets stuck very quickly, and it'll kill you. You get to hear how Jamie Curtis, although she never came forward about the thing she should have, when she wanted something, she wanted that video taken down. What did she say? Take it down now! Veronica Bruce, a.k.a. Missy Bruce of Region 2, wanted the same thing. Right now. They all want it right now. Right now. And then, of course, there's the, oh, if I don't do right what you want, right when you want it, you throw a tantrum. No, I gave you fucking years, you dumb cunt. You got people killed by not giving a shit, by pretending that you cared. If you go back and take a look through the messages with people, other than when it was a big thing that they were all interested in because it was all over the news, yeah, people don't get a hold of me to see how I'm doing. They don't get a hold of me to ask how I'm doing. I have to reach out to them. And then maybe they'll ask how I'm doing, but then they'll talk over me and tell me about their own shit. Women are especially prone to this. We've also taught women to dig for excuses. Any excuse. Having kids is often an excuse. Oh, I need help, I have kids. But I can't help you because I have kids. I can't even tell the truth because I have kids. But you know what? I'll give you a sandwich and I'll throw the sandwich in your face. As if that's the same as helping you to turn in a report. Men are a lot more likely to be blown off when they make a report. Men are a lot more afraid to make a police report. Well, unless it's a property owner who has money like Rob over there at the Fred Meyers. He claims to be the owner. Well, that's fine. But you get to see there the same bias play out. Just as the same bias played out at Tides of Change. A woman victimizes a man. A man tries to get help. A man is victimized as if he's the predator. You get to see multiple times over there at the Fred Meyers where I didn't do anything wrong, where other people, women, very specifically did horrible shit to me and to a lot of other people. Molly was not just shitty to me. And Vicky Rain, although she may not have been the one who dumped all of my stuff at my car, it was at her place in her storage thing, and only two people knew the combination to her lock. It's 1976. So the lock on her shed, the code is 1976. I knew the code was 1976, and she knew the code was 1976, and she assured me that nobody else had that number, which means that, obviously, Vicky Rain either did that herself or had someone else do it for her. And that is how women are taught to do things, because it works. That's how you teach them. Why do I scream and shout? Because that's what works. If I talk nicely, you talk over me, you talk down to me, you talk to me like I am retarded. I shouldn't have to fucking scream at you, but I have a penis, so I do. I'm told not to live in the past. I'm still living the abuse, dumbass. While you want to throw in my face, oh, women were not allowed to vote until the 1920s. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Maybe you should look it up. Maybe before you tell me not to live in the past over something that I'm still enduring, and I'm talking about something that you and others did and took part in, and you want me to just let it go and not live in the past, but you want to throw the fact that you're allowed to vote now in my face, as if I'm a bad person because you're allowed to vote. See, that's how you're not looking at it. You're not looking at it as the fact that you have the right to vote. Your right to vote is not taken away from you. You still have the right to vote. So throwing it in my face that in the 1920s, women weren't allowed to vote. Well, we don't live in the 1920s. That's in the past. We weren't even alive then. I am talking to you about things that you did. You are blaming me for things that not only did I not do, and certainly didn't do to you, you have never endured that either. Kind of like the property ownership of slaves. We get it thrown in our face that private ownership of slaves in the United States is wrong. Well, of course it is. It's wrong no matter where you are. But we teach black people here in the United States that American slavery is the worst that there ever was, and that only black people have ever been enslaved, and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Most Europeans enslaved Europeans. Most Africans enslaved Africans. Most Asians enslaved Asians. We didn't have all this modern technology that allows people to circumnavigate the world until just a few hundred years ago. So yeah, if you were in China and you wanted slaves, you were not going to travel to Africa to get them. You were not going to travel to Italy to get them. You were not going to travel to Great Britain to get them. But here in the United States, what do we teach? We teach a lot of really ignorant things. And a lot of black folks, they want to make their cause look much more bigger, much more better, like Donald Trump wants, by only focusing on the parts that they want you to look at. By comparing a poor black man with a rich white man. Well, that is no contest. That's like the difference between a poor black man in a house and a homeless white man. Between the two, the homeless white man is more likely to be victimized. But you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that women are more likely to assault men, but men are more likely to go to jail for it. You don't want to hear that women are more likely to kill their husbands than the other way around, because you want to focus on violent deaths and you don't consider poison a violent death. You want to talk about how horrible men are when, of course, Women, statistically, are far more likely to kill their children. Far more likely. Women are more likely to look the other way when things are happening to somebody else, especially when they're happening to a male. Oh, that's not true because we've taught our entire society to ignore men who are abused. They must deserve it because somebody owned slaves 200 years ago. Sorry, 150 years ago. We have taught women, as well as minorities, some horrible things. Like, it's okay for you to harm white people today as a free person because somebody who is white owned somebody who is not a free person in the past. That is revolting. Now, I try to give people the educational stuff, and they don't follow it, they don't read it, they don't care. They show through their actions that literally, right after I send them something like that, so they can understand, even if it's something short that they can read in 2 minutes at most, if they've got a fucking 3rd grade reading level, they'll still be able to squeak through it. But they don't. Instead, they get angry at me and snap at me because I am sending them educational materials. When did Kimberly Jepsen decide to throw me away? When I offered to send her educational materials on how not to push your friends to commit suicide. That's what you do. You harm us to death, and then you harm us for wanting our lives to end because we are harmed so greatly. You tell us we just need to man up. Meanwhile, if a girl pretends, then you will destroy a man's life. What the fuck is wrong with you?